Hello YouTube, welcome to my playthrough of Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templar. That's it, let's get to it. How's it going everybody? Gonna be checking out some Broken Sword. Go through the game, played this game a lot of times recently. I've enjoyed it ever since I was a kid. My grandmother actually introduced me to this story, and it was a meme with me and her for the longest time. George is so funny. Nico's a good protagonist as well, and there's also an anti-hero as well, which is also nice. Yeah, this game's absolutely phenomenal, so we're gonna check it out. First thing before I want to get in it, though, I just want to thank everybody that's liked my page, joined my Facebook community page, and given me the support. We're up to, I believe, 20 followers, which is good. I think I'm happy with it, so I can't really say much about that. Thank you to everybody who's followed and liked and checks out the video. Yeah, so let's just start with some Broken Sword, and hopefully you like this too. There we go. So we'll start with some story.
City of love, romance, and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too. But ever since that day, the day of the murder, I've always associated my beloved Paris with death. I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away. Here I was, the palace of the Media King and the Ice Queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life.
Sorry about the
forever.
banging.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico.
I can hear it through the headphones.
I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
If you know me, my wife's not very subtle.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty? You're too kind, madame.
Ah, the talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I did not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father, he never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat.
God, what? Monsieur Garçon!
It's cracking, Sean.
He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here.
There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen.
I don't just
She
play Call
would
of
have
Duty,
been
dude.
top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One of the most important men in Europe murdered. And here was I, Nico Coulard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation?
This is Broken
It
Sword.
was a no-brainer.
It's a pretty old game, probably before or in and around the time you were born anyway. It's a point-and-click adventure, mystery solver. It's actually pretty funny, the storyline to this. Alright, check out this body.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before, and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I called him.
I've always done it, man, just behind closed doors. Call of Duty to everybody else, but no, I like these kind of games too. Very nostalgic, for me anyway.
I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now. Carchon had been shot.
Alrighty.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job. I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself.
Hey man, I bet there's some games that you play that
A bust of Pierre Carchon, humble servant of La
that's
France.
not on the top of the list like Call of Duty or Warzone.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
Yeah, I might do. I might get some Warzone in.
I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful.
Oh no, I forgot an item. Oop, no, wrong door.
The door was locked. Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time.
Pick up that hair
It
clip.
was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
Yeah, this is a bit slow. There's no octane in this guy. It's just a chill.
Aha! Nico. You are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why?
Yeah, I hope so,
there
man.
was something
Don't be a
going
stranger.
on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived.
Thanks for
And
stopping
hey,
by, though. I appreciate
she'd
it.
been rude to me, so she had it coming. It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
Cornsy
He
boy,
never told you
what's
anything.
going on?
No. And frankly, I preferred it that way.
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Coulard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start. This is quite a scoop for you.
What? It's a good
I
game,
suppose
dude.
You're already inventing the headlines.
But you play
Just
Catan.
because I am a journalist.
You
Don't
play Catan with
patronise
Boot.
me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any
You play
moral sense at
snooker,
all?
for God's sake. You like some slow stuff? Here we go. Story-based slow stuff. Okay. It's nice, chill. It's funny.
Yes.
If you hang
That's
around
why I
long
do
enough,
this
you'd
job.
know.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if. My editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact?
Tactical.
Family,
Yeah.
friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were. He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife.
I'm a tactical
That was
genius.
my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
Cheers, brother. Thanks for stopping by, though.
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already, I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this.
Can I go into that other room that I tried to get in before, but it was locked? Pop this up, open that up.
Now we were getting somewhere. This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why. The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? There was the very faintest of clicks. Behind the picture was a safe.
The key we picked up out of the table opens the safe.
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols, I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring.
Well, we did pick up that paint.
As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Carchon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda.
Okay, so we gotta print this item right here. So doing that, we're gonna pop some paint in the tray. And we're gonna roll the artifact.
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one.
And we're gonna pop that in there.
I rolled the artifact in the paint until it was completely coated.
So now we've got it coated. We're gonna roll it on the paper.
Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned. But what did it say?
Okay, now we can pick this up. It's gonna give
It was
us
some
clues.
kind of coded message. It read, subjudice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, subjudice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win
this is
it
number
this
one.
time.
I figured I'll just get this done in this stream. And then I can have something posted on Broken Sword. One of the best story games ever made. Maybe not as fast-paced as some, but still one of the best games ever made, I think. My personal opinion. Okay, so we just got our clue to go to the next area, so we'll go and do that. So we'll go talk to Imelda, who's going to kick us out of her apartment, and we'll do some obscure puzzles. Tell her
Did you
to
find
stick
anything
around.
useful?
It's a good story.
This carving. Do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend. Something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask,
Don't worry. You were never here.
subjudice was the... I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the conciergerie, it would have to be from there. Carchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed.
True. True. It just sparks something in me. The first couple of scenes, like this one and the one before it, are new to the game. So as part of the anniversary edition, which wasn't included in the original release, to give some background story to Nico, who is one of the protagonists. Not the main one, but one of them.
The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Carchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track.
So here's our first main puzzle. Rather than finding stuff and putting stuff together, it's actually a puzzle.
I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate.
Okay, so a slider puzzle. If you've seen this before, you know what it is. If not, horizontal blocks, go horizontal. Vertical blocks, vertical. And you have to release this latch all the way this way. Back to where I was.
Yes! One down, one to go.
One down, one to go. Okay, so same thing. That all the way down. I need that out the way.
Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills.
Yep. And there's number 2. Different play. Different play than Arya. I don't know what you said.
For a room full of junk, that was one very sophisticated lock system. This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one.
We're going to move this boat out the way. It's the only thing interactable in this area.
Oops.
And then we find this.
An old shell case. I wondered what that was doing there.
Okay, we're going to go over to the door, and there's a mechanism right here. We're going to inspect
The
that.
words sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, left, right. But what did it mean here?
Okay, so we have the puzzle, which is a big circular object. You pop that right in there. Cylindrical.
Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder slotted into the hole with a satisfying click.
And then now we have this guy, and we know which area we're in, and S and D. So now we can look at here.
Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me a print of a secret message. It read, Sub Judice. Below it was a sequence of letters, S, D, S, S, D, S, S.
So S and D. Okay, so we know we gotta go towards S. So we're gonna go towards S.
A satisfying click told me I turned it to the right position. It felt like tumblers in a safe.
And then we can go back to D.
Another click. Another step closer.
And then we just fill out the rest of the code. Just like
I
that.
love the sound of locks clicking open.
Simple puzzle just to get you going. So we're going to take out this stone cylinder again, because we'll need that in a sec.
I removed the stone cylinder.
And we'll enter the room. The first time I did this puzzle, I was here for maybe 45 minutes trying to figure it out. And then I realized you can interact with the door. So we're going to just go straight into interacting with the door with the shell casing. And she's going to pop it in the corner. There you go. We'll go over to the crucifix. And she should lift it up. And when she lifts it up, it's going to close the door.
Oh my god!
There's nothing else we can do right now, so we'll walk away.
With nothing to hold it up, the cross dropped back down again.
And we'll go and pick up our squished thing over here.
The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case.
So we're going to need that shell case again. So we'll lift up this cross.
Lifting the cross closed the entrance door and also opened some kind of stone panel. Ingenious.
And then what we're actually going to use right here is actually the shell casing, which is going to prop up the cross so we can walk away without the door opening again, and then leaving this panel wide open. So if you noticed last time when I first lifted it up, this panel opened and the door closed. When I walked away, the panel closed, the door opened. So now we're going to jam it open.
The stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere.
There we go. And we're going to go over to this guy right here, and we're going to use the stone cylinder again.
The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed.
Okay, so now this area over here is interactable, where it wasn't before. And if you noticed when I put that in, this panel actually did move. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to interact.
The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open.
So when she says thin enough, she also means strong enough to push up a piece of stone. So hair clip, keys, none of these items will work. So we're going to head over here and pick up our shell casing again. And if you remember, we crushed it. So one end is flat.
I removed the shell case. The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up.
So we'll go back over and we're actually going to use our shell casing on this door right here. I have
Another
no
good
idea
use for a
how they
shell
use
case.
that for an
Another
answer to
secret
this
room.
puzzle, because
Somebody had something
that's exactly
to
why I
hide.
was here for 45 minutes. I
But
didn't
was
have
it what I
a
was
clue
looking
where
for?
I was supposed to go, or what I was supposed to do. No, we don't need that. We can pop straight in here.
Wow. Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon?
Okay, so dark room, we can't actually interact with anything while it's dark in any part of the story. So we'll head over back to the light. And we know we can interact with something because these little blue circles start appearing. So we'll do that.
Amazing. The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day.
Okay, so now we'll move over back into the light room. And we're actually going to inspect this picture right here.
A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it.
Now we'll inspect the mechanism as well.
That wasn't going to help.
So we obviously need a key to pop that open, which we do not have yet. It's very rustic, very Victorian-esque style room, and a desk with stuff on it. So we can check out the stuff on the desk.
It was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk.
And we'll
The
check out-
dregs at the bottom of the mug hadn't dried out or gone moldy. It wasn't more than a day old.
and we can see here a binder with Nico on it, so we'll inspect that as well.
Oh my god. The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate. But come on, guys. I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big. And organized. I was part of it. And people were getting murdered.
And now we're going to find out why they got murdered.
This was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case, the killer had worn a costume. A penguin, and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders, and I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon?
Okay, so we just found out at the start of this that a mime killed Carchon, and then obviously someone wearing disguise killed 2 other people in other places. So, and she's being tracked because she's reporting on them. We can inspect the drawer right here.
Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code.
And then we can interact with the drawer again. And she breaks it.
Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens?
And then we can pick up the item inside.
A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village, and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself. Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do in this area is check out the coded message. So it's a cipher swap code. So every symbol has a letter, and we've got to swap out the symbols for the letters for this to turn into readable, a readable letter. I used to do a few of these when I was a kid, puzzle books and everything I used to get for Christmas. So much fun. Difficult, but fun at the same time. When you start getting to the point where you're figuring out what the rule is to solve the rest of the puzzle. So the number one thing you should do when doing a puzzle like this is try and find two symbols that are together, because it means the same two letters are together, and there's very few in the English language that actually go together and make sense. Unless you're Welsh, then weird letters go together. Yeah. Anyway, so L's will go together, S's will go together, O's will go together, T's will go together, and they're the most common. So you can literally say that those would be the starting point, your starting blocks in any code breaking cipher like this. So you can see here there's two the same here, two the same here, we have two the same here, so they're everywhere pretty much. So we could literally say like this right here could be an A or an S, sorry, so we'll try that for an S. So that's not going to be an A, SS. So in a sentence, it's not that kind of game. But where else it fills out, it could be. Okay. But we're going to do something easier and actually figure out these ones right here. So this block of 3 right here and this block of 2, you can see that they are pretty much the same. So what two letters go together in multiple or extended orders? It's going to be starting with the T, and you can see that this one right here, where is it? There you go. So 2 2. I can't think of any other English language that has that kind of that order of letters. I'm trying to think of words and it's just going so slow in my brain right now. So another way that we could do this letter, which we'll do now, is that we know who this letter is addressed to because we're in his desk. So we're going to put in his name to start this off. So you can see right here, full stop, so you can see it's been addressed. So we'll pop in his name. There you go. So now we filled in quite a little bit of the cipher already, and just by popping his name we've opened this up to be solved a lot easier. So the next one I'm going to actually move to is this one right here. There's not a lot of words in that order without putting these two letters inside, so we'll pop this right here and we'll use this right here. So as you can see, it filled out a little bit more that we can now work off of. Report to something 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 2. So it's pretty simple right there if you haven't worked that out already. There you go. This is to something with RGE. So RGE is usually prefixed with a U, and then you can see that fills out into. This is why being able to spell stuff ARIA is important. And obviously we can start moving ahead into other letters. So something, it's something, something. So we can say that this letter here is an A, and this is going to follow being an N. Just like that. Okay. So it seems that something, something S. So a sentence that would make sense right there. That all of us who came together. So we know that this is now an L. And this is going to be an F. This is going to be a W. And this is going to be a C. Easy. And then we can actually fill this out now because we know what word that's going to be. So that's going to be a D. Right there. Easy. So we have more to fill out now. So Pierre, the full report to follow. Something this is too urgent to wait. So everything before this word means nothing. It's going to be a B. So we'll do that. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and something both dead. Now we don't know this character's name. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in something are in danger. Something, great care, something. So this one we can obviously narrow down into a K to make take. And then this is going to be a date. A 4-letter word with UL in the middle. And with the letters that we have available, it should be easy to fill in. So this symbol here is going to be a Y. There we go. So how I read this when the first time I figured it out, this last letter was actually pretty easy. How do some people end a letter or a text message? Ask Matthew Corns, because he's done it 3 times already. Oh no, 1 time already in this chat.
I had decrypted the note. It read, Pierre, full report to follow. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Yamada both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in July are in danger. Take great care. X. I wasn't the only one to make the connection between the costume killer murders. I'd been right all along. That was why he had asked to meet me. But what did I know that he didn't? I had enough for a story. An amazing story that was going to make my reputation and blow Conscience to pieces. I needed to get home fast and start typing.
So now this is gonna pretty much explain the start of the original game, why
Nico,
she was in the
it's Ronnie.
position that she was in,
cracked open the champagne yet?
and how
Are
she
you
gets
crazy?
involved.
What's wrong? Wait a minute. You didn't print it, did you?
Of course I didn't print.
That's the best piece I've written.
The last, as far as I'm concerned.
It's important.
It's suicidal. You can't destroy a national hero.
He deserved it.
His corpse isn't even cold.
Ronnie, 2 hours ago I told you what I'd found. You loved it. You begged me to write it up immediately.
2 hours is a long time in newspapers, Nico.
Someone's got to you, haven't they?
Listen up, Nicole, and listen good. Pierre Carchon had a lot of friends, powerful friends. For your own sake.
Forget what happened.
You got it. End of conversation. Good night.
This should have been my big break, but I knew there was nowhere else to sell this story. If Ronnie wouldn't print it, nobody would.
Who could this be?
Bonsoir, Collard.
Mademoiselle Collard, my name is Plantard. I need to talk to you about your story. Your Pierre Carchon story.
How did you know about that?
There are people out there, madame, who will be very upset by this story.
Oh, really? Well, it's their lucky day. It's been spiked.
Yes, I know. We must meet.
We must?
I have information relating to your costume killer stories. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Café de la Chandelle Verte, Rue Alain Court. I shall be wearing a grey overcoat. You must talk to no one about this.
You can't tell me what to...
Tomorrow at 8. I'll be waiting.
People complain about newspaper articles all the time, but not usually before they're printed. I was beginning to feel scared. This
Enter
guy,
the first
Plantard.
game.
Could I trust him? Should I meet him or forget the whole business? I didn't have an answer.
Thank you guys for watching this Broken Sword episode. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to see some more Broken Sword story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification button when it does come on live. If you've got any feedback, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please leave it in the comments down below. If you'd like to see some more live content, please hit me up on one of these live pages when I go live. I have different content for different channels. And at the end of the day, YouTube, don't just be cool. Be downright fearless.